students. I am Lindsey Stetler. I am the coordinator on our Midlothian campus. And even though Christmas is still a few weeks away, it seems that everywhere I go, it is just red and green. Even a few weeks ago, it was the week before November even started, and it was hard to go anywhere and not find Christmas lights or the big displays. And I'm not complaining at all. I love Christmas, so I was happy to see stuff out so early. But the only thing I am not a fan of is the crowds. I hate going to stores after Black Friday and seeing the shelves and displays ripped and picked apart and seeing the staff looking like zombies from a lack of sleep and the inability to find basic things. I also hate standing in line for what feels like an eternity, running through every single person I would possibly need a gift for and hoping that I got it all in. In-laws, siblings, parents, even pets. Yes, my pets have a stocking on our mantle waiting to be stuffed with gifts. And I assumed this year would look a little bit different. Less crowded, less Black Friday rushes, more stuff on the shelves to look at, and I was wrong. I went there the day after Black Friday to get some Christmas lights, and there were about 3 things to choose from, where a few days prior it was hundreds. And all this craziness got me to thinking, what would happen if I stopped focusing on the food, the decorations, the gifts, the perfect wrapping paper, and the biggest bow? And what if one year I didn't start mapping out gifts in October, start budgeting the first week of November, and I started focusing on the why of Christmas in the first place? The activities surrounding Christmas seem to dominate every aspect of our lives in the days and weeks leading up to Christmas Day. But between seeing Christmas lights and watching every single possible Christmas movie ever made, on top of your own family's traditions, there is just so much to do. And we feel guilty if we don't get it in all the time. After all, it's Christmas. This is the way we celebrate God sending His Son into our world. Keeping all of these obligations and traditions is our way of showing others, and if you think about it, showing Jesus Himself how important He is in our lives. But what if it doesn't? What if all of the decorations and the shows and festivities are actually taking the attention away from the one that they're supposed to be about? What if all the attention that we give to the events around Christmas detracts from the attention that we should be giving to the one whose birth we are celebrating? It's possible that we could be doing so much in service and celebration of Jesus' arrival that we forget to spend time with Him. I think it is, and I think that we have all, very much including myself, been guilty of this. I am certain that Jesus knew that there would be a great deal of excitement and buzz surrounding His presence. Even if He weren't omniscient, meaning all-knowing, He would have just known that wherever He went, there would be a lot going on. Everywhere He went, crowds gathered, there was excitement and specifically planned out meals. All throughout the gospel accounts, which are the first 4 books of the New Testament, we read that Jesus showing up in a new town and someone always insisting that He and His disciples come and have dinner. Sometimes it was with who you would normally expect the Son of God to be having dinner with. And sometimes it would be who you would least expect the Son of God to be having dinner with. But sometimes, like everywhere He went, someone was hosting a dinner to honor Him. Luke 10 records the account of one of those meals at the home of Mary, Martha, and a few other people. As always, when Jesus arrived, there was a lot to be done. He came with a crowd of at least 12, and people gathered around to hear Him teach. Martha was concerned with being the perfect host. She was focused on getting everything done that needed to be, but her sister, Mary, wasn't. As Jesus and His disciples were on their way, He came to a village where a woman named Martha opened up her home to Him. She and her sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what He had said. That comes from Luke chapter 10, verses 38 and 39. Instead of giving in to the pressures to host and entertain, Mary sat at Jesus' feet. She spent time with Jesus and listened to Him talk about why He had come. And all throughout the Gospel of Luke, the idea of listening is tied to the idea of discipleship. Many heard what Jesus said, but few actually listened. Sounds familiar, right? I know I'm guilty of doing this. Luke went out of his way to tell his readers what Mary was doing at Jesus' feet. She was listening. She was learning to follow Him more closely. This passage is smack in the middle of the parable of the Good Samaritan and Jesus' teaching of the Lord's Prayer. So maybe Mary was listening to Jesus teach about what it truly meant to love your neighbor as yourself. Maybe she was listening to him explain everyone's need to commune, which means in the Bible to focus on God, with the Father through prayer. What it was is that she was hearing. She was intently listening in order to follow Jesus more fully. Well, meanwhile, Martha was not sitting at Jesus' feet listening. Instead, again, she was trying to be the perfect hostess. She was trying to prepare the food for everyone, making sure that all the beds were made up and that they were clean. I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of work that it would require to be hosting Jesus. I mean, talk about a guest of honor. Luke says, but Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, why don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. That comes from Luke 10:40. I love the small emphasis that Luke makes. Martha was distracted, but Mary listened. Martha was so frustrated that her sister had left her to do all the work that she actually interrupted Jesus' teaching to ask him to intervene. What? Martha completely missed the entire point. She got so distracted by all of the activity and the busyness surrounding Jesus' arrival that she actually thought that the activities and preparation was more important than spending time with the one that this was all surrounding. She wasn't ignoring him purposefully. She wasn't being rude or discourteous in any way, but she wasn't disobeying any commandments or laws. She was simply distracted and forgot what it was that she was supposed to be focusing on. We are so guilty of this, aren't we? We get fixated on getting the house just right for Christmas, making the perfect picture for the card, making sure the perfect gifts are bought, and that all the services are attended. We think that the activity surrounding Jesus' arrival is more important than spending time with the one that we are actually celebrating. I think that one of the most convicting things that I realized in the course of preparing this is that I am so much like Martha at times, and I can wear it with pride. I'm just so busy serving Jesus and doing his work. Doesn't anyone notice how busy I am? Sometimes it seems like we can become consumed with irrelevant things trying to serve Jesus, that we can become feisty and honestly kind of a jerk. The commentator Warren wrote about this passage, if serving Christ makes us difficult to live with, then something is terribly wrong with our service. Jesus' loving reminder to Martha is probably the same thing that he would say to each of us. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. He didn't say that the things Martha was spending her time on weren't important or weren't worthy of her time. Jesus did not scold Martha for wanting things to be done a particular way. He was just reminding her that there is something better than having things just perfectly done right. Jesus is better. Time with him is better than a perfect meal, even one thrown in his honor. Time with him is better than a tidy house. Time with him is better than getting the girl you want the perfect gift because maybe then she'll like you back. I mean, we all do things like this, don't we? I can count at least 5 instances in the past 2 weeks where I have put other things ahead of celebrating the one that we are actually talking about. From putting up my tree and thinking I needed to buy the perfect ornaments and filler pieces to make it Instagram worthy, to scanning all the local businesses and websites to find the absolute perfect gift for basically everyone I come in contact with. And I know that if I don't get them a gift perfectly wrapped up in the best wrapping paper and the largest ribbons and bows, that Christmas won't stop. The world won't end. Jesus will still be the reason that we are even celebrating this day. But it can be a hard thing to remember when you are caught up in all of the holiday madness. This is what I think was the hardest lesson for Martha to learn. Time with Jesus is better than the hustle and bustle for Jesus. Martha was doing all that she was for Jesus, yet he had told her Mary had chosen what was better. Martha's choice had not been bad. The things that she was working on were all good. It simply wasn't the best choice at the moment. Why? Because Jesus was there. Think about it. If Jesus walked into your home right now, and I want you to answer honestly, which person would you be? Mary or Martha? I would love to say Mary without a doubt, but honestly, I'm not sure. I spent some time thinking about practical things that we could do to make sure that we focus on the right things this Christmas season. And here's a list of things that I am going to be trying this year. Your list might be a little bit different, but here is what I am planning to do to not be distracted by less important things this Christmas. So first of all, I am going to try to eliminate everything that takes away from the real meaning of Christmas. For instance, I'm not going to post a million pictures of my perfectly lit up house, which for the record, it's not. We accidentally bought a bunch of mixed matched Christmas lights, and we didn't realize it till we already put it up. So there we go. So I'm going to make sure I don't post a bunch of those pictures all over Instagram and let it consume my time. Secondly, I'm going to put my most significant relationships first. I'm going to spend extra time with God in my personal time of prayer and reading, and I'm going to make it a point to be focused and mentally present in worshiping Him at church. I'm also going to find time to make traditions with my husband and our new family. This is our first Christmas together, and I don't want to spend it fighting over budgets for gifts or whose house we're going to go to so that no one gets upset. We're just going to be present together and spend time with each other during this season. And finally, I'm going to focus on those in need. I have all that I need. I will do just fine and do not need to survive off of a dozen Starbucks gift cards. But I do have the opportunity to use Christmas to share God's love with others and hopefully point them to Him. This Christmas, we will be tempted to focus our time and attention on all of the activities with the arrival of Jesus. And there is nothing wrong with shopping and dinners and holiday activities, and there's certainly nothing wrong with the special services. But we have the opportunity to, like Mary, choose something better. We have the opportunity to spend time with the one whose arrival that we are celebrating in the first place. And we have the opportunity to be with Jesus, which is the miracle of Christmas. Before the birth of Christ, the prophet Isaiah wrote, "Therefore the Lord Himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel," which means God with us. That comes from Isaiah 7:14. If God with us is the point of the season, shouldn't we make it a point to spend time with Him? So let's find ways that we can take away the madness surrounding Christmas, to focus on the actual reason that we are celebrating Him in the first place, whether it be in scripture, in music, praying, whatever it looks like for you. Let's look for ways that we can sit at His feet and spend time with Him.